Counterpoint, the general knowledge music quiz chaired by Paul Gambaccini.
Hello, welcome everyone to the Radio Theatre in London, to a new year, and to a new season of Counterpoint. Billy Joel describes music as an explosive expression of humanity. It's something we are all touched by. In the coming weeks, it will touch us in all of its expressions and genres as we begin the quest for the 36th BBC Counterpoint champion. Let's invite our first trio of contenders to introduce themselves.
Hi there, my name's Yvonne Blair. I'm from Glasgow, and the first single I ever bought was Frankie by Sister Sledge.
Hi, I'm Antony Fish. I'm from Pontypool in Torvine, and the first record I ever bought was You Can't Hurry Love by Phil Collins.
Hello, I'm Isabella Valentini from Brentwood in Essex, and the first album I bought was Spice by the Spice Girls.
Welcome, all of you. Our opening round tests your musical general knowledge. There are 2 points available per question. If the person asked can't answer correctly, I'll open it up to the others for a bonus point. Good luck, everyone. In the words of the Carpenters, we've only just begun, as we ask the first question of the 2023 Counterpoint season to Yvonne Blair. One of the musical highlights of 2022 was the opening of the Eurovision Song Contest in Turin with a moving performance of which anti-war song, originally released in 1969 by the Plastic Ono Band?
Give Peace a Chance?
That's right, for 2 points. Antony Fish, for the first musical extract of this series, let's hear part of that Eurovision 2022 introduction, available on the BBC iPlayer. A question will follow. The lyrics to the original version of the song introduce a list of people, including John Lennon and Yoko Ono name-checking themselves, references to Bobby Dylan, Allen Ginsberg, and Krishna. They also mention the American author who wrote The Naked and the Dead and a popular British comedian. Can you give me their names?
Tommy Cooper.
Is the comedian?
And Mailer.
Yes, Norman Mailer will give you the 2 points. Just like that, we turn to you, Isabella Valentini. In 2022, Harry Styles' song As It Was spent a record-breaking 15 weeks at the top of the U.S. Billboard Hot 100, becoming the longest-running #1 by a British artist. The song wasn't his first solo #1 to top the American charts. He achieved that in 2019 with which fruity tune?
Watermelon Sugar?
That's right, for 2 points. Yvonne, from watermelon to water music. Here's a recent recording of Handel's famous work by the BBC Concert Orchestra for Radio 3's afternoon concert. After you've heard it, can you tell me which king it was originally performed for in 1717 and at which watery location?
So it's a George II?
I'm afraid not.
Oh,
but we'll come back to that. Where was it performed?
On the Thames?
That is 1 point. And for the bonus point, Antony Fish says?
George I.
That's right, and you get that bonus point. Antony, here is your own question. Handel is a nickname given by the character Herbert Pocket to one of the main characters in a Dickens novel. Pocket explains it's because we are so harmonious, and you have been a blacksmith. Which novel is that?
David Copperfield.
I'm afraid it is not. Can anyone else pick up on that? Yvonne?
Is it Bleak House?
Oh, it is not Bleak House. Isabella, do you want to name a Dickens novel?
A Christmas Carol?
Oh, it's not A Christmas Carol. It's Great Expectations. Isabella Valentini, here is your own question. Let's see if you can handle it as we dip into the BBC archives with a 6-music program from 2012. I'd simply like you to identify the person taking inspiration from Metamorphosis 2 by Philip Glass.
This is a more plangent, quiet Philip Glass with one of his solo piano pieces. So I made a little film, almost in homage to his film work with Koyana Scotzi. I made a time-lapse film of me making a pot, because people always wondered how I made my work. And so I made a time-lapse film where I compressed 2.5 months down to 5 minutes, and I used that track as the sound.
Pass.
You have passed, but to whom? Yvonne Blair says...
Is that Grayson Perry?
It is Grayson Perry for the bonus point. And here is your own question. The New York City Opera has developed several LGBTQ+ productions as part of its Pride initiative, including an opera by Ian Bell, which featured the first transgender character written for a trans-identifying singer, Lucas Book. The opera is named after events which took place in a bar in Greenwich Village 50 years before the premiere in June 2019. What is its one-word title?
Is it Stonewall?
It is, for 2 points. Antony Fish, here's the Swedish singer Sofia Karlgren with her version of a piece of music from a film set during the time of ancient Rome. Which film?
Gladiator?
It is Gladiator for 2 points. Isabella Valentini, the French dramatist Beaumarchais, created a series of plays featuring a comic character which inspired operatic versions by Rossini in 1775 and Mozart in 1784. Can you name those operas?
The Marriage of Figaro
Is one of
and The Barber of Seville.
Yes, you get both points. The third point of the trilogy, The Guilty Mother, is seldom revived. Yvonne Blair, music for you. The First Cut is the Deepest has been performed by several major artists, including Rod Stewart and Sheryl Crow. It was written in 1967 by Cat Stevens. Although he recorded the song himself, its first commercial release was by an American singer who began her career as an Ikette with the Ike and Tina Turner Revue. After you've heard it, I'd like you to tell me her name.
I'm hoping that's P.P. Arnold.
2 points. It is P.P. Arnold. Antony Fish. Which British group is this? In 2018, they won the Mercury Prize for their album Visions of a Life. In 2022, they took home a Brit Award for Best Group. Their name is inspired by a short story written by the British author Angela Carter. Who are they?
Wolf Alice?
They are Wolf Alice. 2 points. Isabella Valentini. Let's finish this round with music from Joshua Tillman, the American singer who performs under the stage name Father John Misty. He's been described by critics as the most online man in folk music. Here's his acoustic cover version of The Suburbs, the title song of an album released by a Canadian band in 2010. After you've heard it, I'd like you to name them.
Sometimes I can't believe it. I'm moving past the feeling. Sometimes I can't believe it. I'm moving past the feeling again.
Arcade Fire.
It is Arcade Fire for 2 points. Now let us see who was on fire as I reveal the scores after the opening round. In third place with 6 points is Isabella Valentini. Lying second with 7 points is Antony Fish. And in the lead with 8 points, it's Yvonne Blair. We cannot get much closer. Now it is time for the second round in which our competitors choose special subjects. I'm about to give them 5 categories to pick from. They get to choose in the order of their scores so far, but they've had no prior warning of the choices and no chance to prepare. Some of the topics are self-explanatory, others are a little more thematic, in which the titles could encompass questions on several different genres of music. Here are today's categories. Puccini's Villains, the Apple record label, classical music at the BBC, the British ska scene, and pop around the planets. Yvonne Blair, you are in the lead at the moment. Which would you like?
I'm going to try the ska scene.
And for you, Antony Fish?
I'll go pop around the planets, please.
And that leaves 3 for Isabella. They are Puccini's Villains, the Apple record label, and classical music at the BBC.
I'm going to take Puccini's Villains.
This is an individual round, and we don't offer bonus points for each other's questions. We will start with Isabella Valentini and specialist questions on Puccini's Villains. Where else to begin a round on Puccini Villains than the thundering dissonant tritone, or Devil's Interval, which opens his 1900 opera Tosca. The 3 chords form a motif which returns throughout, heralding the presence of which barbarous baritone?
Caravadossi.
No, it's Scarpia. Here's another baritone standing in the way of a pair of lovers in Puccini's La Fanciulla del West. Sheriff Jack Rance wants Minnie to be his wife, but she's fallen for a bandit. After Rance makes this villainous proclamation to Minnie, I'd like you to explain what bargain she makes to free her lover.
She offers to marry someone else.
No, I'm afraid not. She challenges him to a game of poker. A rare example of a villainous character not played by a baritone is mezzo-soprano Tigrana, who stabs and kills the title character's love, Fidelia, in which of Puccini's early operas?
Edgar.
That's right, for 2 points. Time for more music. In the third act of Madama Butterfly, we join the cowardly Lieutenant Pinkerton, returning to Japan after 3 years with a new wife. They want to look after the child he fathered with Churchill-san, but unable to face his butterfly with heartrending news, he offers this mournful farewell. After you've heard it, I'd like you to tell me, in English or Italian, the name of their child.
I'm afraid I can't remember.
The name is Dolore, meaning sorrow. Another Puccini opera ends tragically with barge owner Michele forcing dock worker Luigi to confess to having an affair with his wife Giorgetta and then killing both lovers. Which opera?
Il Tabarro.
That is right, The Cloak. In another one-act opera, Gianni Schicchi, the setting is 13th century Florence, with nefarious relatives gathering at the passing of Buoso Donati in the hope of a mention in his will. The following aria provides an interlude in contrast with the hypocrisy, jealousy, and feuding. After you've heard it, I'd like you to tell me which work by the Italian philosopher Dante inspired the opera's plot.
Dante's Inferno.
That's right, for 2 points. We heard Dame Kiri Te Kanawa with O Mio Babino Caro. We return to a more conventional Puccini villain for the last question of this round. In Manon Lescaut, an elderly treasurer general called Durante keeps Manon locked up in his house as his mistress. At the end of the second act, Manon drops which objects at Durante's feet, a symbol of her rejection of his desire?
A vase.
I'm afraid not. It's jewels. Nonetheless, in that round, Isabella Valentini, you scored a precious 6 points. Added to your previous 6, you now have 12 points. Antony Fish, we are going to pop around the planets. Which popular David Bowie song begins with the lines, "It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair"?
Life on Mars?
That is correct for 2 points. Rick Wakeman was Bowie's pianist on Life on Mars. In 1985, he was stargazing again when he joined forces with Jeff Wayne and Kevin Peake to release Beyond the Planets, a reworking of Gustav Holst's classical work. Which of the planets is getting a progressive rock makeover here?
Is that Jupiter?
I'm sorry, it's not Jupiter, it's Uranus. For several years, the musician and actor Amadeo Fusca has performed a one-man show of monologues and comedic songs all across America. It's based on a multi-million-selling book by John Gray, which explores the differences between the sexes. Can you name it?
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus?
That's right. You got there. Another 2 planets crop up in this next question with music. Which American band is this?
Earth, Wind and Fire?
That is right. Earth, Wind and Fire performing Jupiter. Inspired by the Cassini-Huygens space mission, James Durham composed electronic music to mark the Huygens probe's successful landing in January 2005. On which planet?
Saturn.
That's right. For your final music extract of this round, we journey from Saturn to Mercury. Freddie Mercury, that is, with the music of Queen as played by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. A question will follow. The Royal Philharmonic Orchestra performing Radio Gaga on Radio 44. The video, which accompanies the original version, uses footage from which 1920s silent film directed by Fritz Lang, set on a futuristic planet Earth?
Metropolis?
That's right, for 2 points. Gonk's Go Beat is another film which takes place on a space-age planet Earth. Appearing in 1964, it's a science fiction musical loosely based on Romeo and Juliet. It was the movie debut of the singer who, in 2023, celebrates her 75th anniversary. She was born Marie McDonald McLaughlin Laurie. How is she better known?
Lulu.
That is correct. And Antony Fish, in that round, you scored 12 points. Added to your previous 7, you now have a total of 19 points. Yvonne Blair, we're going to examine the British ska scene. Ska arrived in the UK in the early 60s, with records becoming available across the country. The genre combined elements of Caribbean mento and calypso with American jazz and rhythm and blues, originating in which island country?
Jamaica.
For 2 points. The Two-Tone record label, which began in 1979, launched a new British ska sound with elements of punk rock and new wave. It began with young musicians in the West Midlands who'd grown up listening to Jamaican music. Here's one of the most successful two-tone bands of the era. Can you identify them?
I put my baby on the radio. He played it all day. I go. He liked to dance to it down in the streets. He said he loved me, but he loved the beach.
Is that the Selector?
That is the Selector with On My Radio. Jerry Dammers of the Specials was the founder of Two-Tone Records. The label was known for its distinctive logo of a man in a black suit, white shirt, and black tie. Can you tell me the name given to the fictional man in the logo?
Prince.
I'm sorry, a good guess, perhaps. Madness had the song called The Prince. That man is actually called Walt Jabsco. Walt Jabsco. Madness were one of the most prominent bands to come out of the two-tone ska scene. Although often seen as a humorous band, many of their songs have darker themes. In this 1980 single, Embarrassment, what theme are they addressing?
Is it domestic violence?
I'm afraid it isn't. It's racial prejudice.
Oh, dear.
In essence, the song reveals a white family's reaction to a teenager's pregnancy with a black man's child. Another popular ska band during that period, The Beat, released the song Ranking Full Stop on the B-side of their first single. Which vocalist who died in 2019 was referred to in that song title?
It's all I can think of is Top Ranking, and that's not his name. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry, it's Ranking Roger.
Ranking.
Roger Charlery. Another of ska's colorful bands in the early 80s was Bad Manners, led by Buster Bloodvessel. Here the group perform The Can-Can, originally known as the Galop Infernal, from a comic opera by Offenbach. After you've kicked your legs in the air, I'd like you to name that opera.
I'm afraid I don't know.
It's from Orpheus in the Underworld.
Oh.
Finally, in this round, Too Much, Too Young, The Special, a.k.a. Live, was an EP by The Specials with Rico Rodriguez, which reached number 1 in 1980. Among the tracks was a cover of a hit by the Skatalites, a ska version of a tune from Dmitri Tiomkin's score to a 1961 war film. What's it called?
The Guns of Navarone.
It is The Guns of Navarone. You come out with all guns blazing in that round because you have scored 6 points. Added to your previous 8, you now have 14 points. And after the individual round, here's how things stand. Laying third with 12 points is Isabella Valentini. In second place with 14 points is Yvonne Blair. And our leader with just one round to go with 19 points is Antony Fish. It's fingers on the buttons once again for our quick-fire final round. This is where things can change quickly. A correct answer gives you 1 point, but you lose a point if you buzz in and fail to answer correctly. There are no bonuses. So, fingers poised, here we go. Gavin Edwards' 1995 book, Excuse Me While I Kiss This Guy, is a collection of misheard what? Yvonne.
Misheard lyrics.
Yes. In the lyrics to Rocket Man by Elton John, at what time are the bags packed? Isabella?
9 a.m.
Yes, 0 hour, 9 a.m. Which capital city connects Haydn's Symphony No. 104 and Symphony No. 2 by Vaughan Williams? Yvonne says,
London.
for the point. What name links a 1980s band from Hull with migratory passerine birds of the swallow family? Yvonne?
The House Martins.
For another point, which House Martins hit shares its name with a time period? Antony?
Happy Hour.
Yes. Originating K or KV numbers, the Austrian Ludwig Kirkel cataloged, and Isabella says,
Pass.
and that's not going to help. It's -1. We meant Mozart. The 2010 psychological horror film Black Swan focuses on which form of dance? And Antony says,
Ballet.
yes. Which Bell and Sebastian song shares its name with the panel game on Radio 4's I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue about an underground station? And Antony says,
Mornington Crescent.
for the point. In a Verdi opera, Isabella foils a plan to poison which king of the Huns? And Antony says,
Hannibal.
no, it's Attila, -1. Which famous New York nightclub was located on 54th Street in Manhattan? Yvonne?
Is it Studio 54?
Yes, indeed. Clarion is a common archaic name for which instrument? Yvonne?
Bells?
No, it's trumpet. 2022 was the year of the book release. Didn't we almost have it all? It's a biography of which legendary artist? And Isabella says,
Adele.
oh, I'm sorry, it's Whitney Houston, -1. Telemann's orchestral suite of 1767 was inspired by which epic novel by Miguel de Cervantes? And Antony says,
Don Quixote.
yes. Produced by Mike Batt, which novelty group's hit singles usually included a reference to their band name? Yvonne?
The Wombles.
Yes. In November 2022, Dua Lipa was granted citizenship of which European? And Antony says,
Albania.
yes. And finally, which Beatles song has the French national anthem at the beginning? Isabella?
All You Need Is Love.
And that is correct. All we need is to declare the winner as I reveal the final scores at the end of this first heat of Counterpoint. Third, with 12 points, is Isabella Valentini. Runner-up with 18 points is Yvonne Blair. And our winner with 23 points is Antony Fish. All good scores. Well done, Antony Fish. It means you'll be back for the semifinals in March. And well done, the other two of you, for giving us such an entertaining contest to kick off the new series. We'll welcome another three music lovers to play Counterpoint next week. Until then, from everyone here, goodbye.